Action Against Corruption. Recording length 10 minutes and 05 seconds. This recording was created using www.spokentext.net. Action Against Corruption. Dr. Srinivas Kashalikar. What is corruption? Corruption embodies degradation of one's perspective, thoughts, feelings, and actions, being influenced by and influencing the surroundings, either consciously or subconsciously, and either knowingly or unknowingly. Corrupt perspective. Perspective is like the space of consciousness. Thus the normalcy of this space of consciousness, that is perspective, is being universal. The degree of restriction of that space of consciousness, that is perspective, determines the degree of the suffocation and throttling of consciousness, marking the beginning of stress and corruption. Thus, the restriction of the space of consciousness, perspective, constitutes separation from nature, world, countries, religions, regions, provinces, sects, linguistic groups, castes, communities, creeds, sects, and even our own family, and from our true self, and embodies corruption and stress. This disease of corrupted perspective is subtle and hence not easily noticed. Since the medial systems today have not learned to diagnose and treat the disease, namely corruption of perspective, they do not identify and treat this disease, which often inflicts the medical systems themselves. Sectarian and corrupt perspective makes our thoughts, feelings, and actions also increasingly mean, lonely, weak, inert, grumbling, intolerant, inconsiderate, resentful, vindictive, and miserably selfish and pathogenic, many times concealed under deceptive glamour and glitter, for ourselves and the society. The paradigms or premises of the sectarian supremacy, racial superiority, financial expansionism, religious bigotry, and fanaticism, and so on, without concern for the well-being of the entire world, constitutes corrupt perspective and highly infectious stress. Corrupt thinking. The holistic perspective or normal perspective as gets corrupted, diseased and degenerated, gradually becomes increasingly narrow, sick and sectarian. From the sick and sectarian soil of corrupt perspective, the sick and sectarian thinking germinates. Everything holistic gets degenerated into everything sick and sectarian. This is corrupt thinking and corrupt rationale behind the coercive, international, national and local laws, conventions, traditions, rules, pacts, formed without concern for well-being of the entire world. Thus the racially discriminating constitutions, the legal discrimination on the basis of castes, legal yet unjust tax system or systems to exploit certain section for the benefit of another section, the repressive laws against trade, shops, and such commercial activities, the legalized destructive promotion of alcohol, the various laws and rules with respect to special economic zones, and so on are examples of corrupt thinking. The present sectarian medical and education systems, conspicuously lacking in integration and productive domain respectively, are also glaring examples of corrupt thinking. The so-called corruption, embodying mere financial scams, bribing, and even other corrupt activities, is actually crude and superficial symptom of the deeper disease, namely corrupt thinking, which in turn is the crude symptom of deeper disease, namely corrupt perspective. Corrupt emotions. The motivation behind the literature, art, media, movies, dramas, and advertisements, and so on, serving the sectarian aims, petty objectives, and vested interests ingrained in the above intellectual themes, without concern for the welfare of people at large, or even at the cost of the welfare of people at large, constitute the corruption of emotions and instincts. In our personal life, one such emotion, which we carry on from childhood, throughout life, is the craze for accolades, awards and honors. In the course of time, awards, accolades and honors become a means of profiteering in many ways apart from euphoria. For us, they become a means of establishing upper hand, dominance, and sway of one kind or another on the society. We enjoy this upper hand, dominance, power, which further inflate our ego, and give arrogant happiness, which is not easily describable. But all of us have experienced the sense of addicting elation when our ego is boosted. Corrupt actions. The actual laws, literature, art forms, media campaigns, movements, and such every activity in different fields, either organized or unorganized, without concern for the welfare of the world, or at the cost of the world, constitutes the corrupt actions. In personal life, we manipulate to get prestigious awards, bribe to get accolades, and use every irregular means to get honors. Isn't it true that the degree of our petty greed and our mean addictions, like these, in various fields, apart from helplessness and meekness born out of dire needs, determines the extent of financial and other varieties of corruption in our society irrespective of where we live in the world? Considering the universal expanse of the corruption and the stress associated with it, from the brief discussion above, it should be clear how corruption and stress are really ubiquitous, that is not only outside but inside us as well. The roots of the corruption thrive from the faulty perspective, followed by corrupt thoughts, emotions and actions. Action against corruption. Corruption probably cannot be eradicated, as it is human weakness. Theoretically, even if it is eradicated today completely, it is going to resurge through the new generation. But it can certainly be brought down to least troublesome level. For this, we need to rectify, repair, restore, regenerate, rejuvenate, and effectively blossom the roots of global perspective and global conscience, maximally. For this, we have to break open the throttling shackles, restricting the space of our consciousness, and minimize the corruption of our perspective, thinking, feelings and actions. This can be done if we study the scope and potential of namasmaran as is done in total stress management, and practice and propagate it as a common minimum program for blossoming of an individual and the mankind. Is this not happening at all? It is happening. Actually, many theists practicing, promoting, and propagating namasmaran as well as the many atheists not practicing namasmaran do not have this perspective. Hence they may appear opposed to this idea. But actually, their actions, though piecemeal in approach, are complementary, and hence contribute to total stress management. For example, they provide the fervor, motivation, and driving force, and analytical, operational and technological capability respectively. Of course, they often do this unknowingly and are unaware of the fact that they are serving the cosmic plan. But this is far from being enough. For an effective action against corruption, we have to take note of the qualities, by virtue of which corrupt people have been proving victorious over holistic renaissance, superliving, that is total stress management. The qualities of the corrupt people are many. Some of these qualities are leadership, clarity, focus, seriousness, courage, commitment, lack of inhibition and preparedness to face any consequences for their action, patience, shrewdness and planning. They have no weakness in terms of compromising with goal. They do not pardon anybody going astray. They are ready to take any risk and stake not only their own, but their family's life in their goal. If we introspect honestly, then we would certainly admit, at least to ourselves, that we lack many of these qualities. We lack clarity, focus, seriousness, courage, commitment, lack of inhibition and preparedness to face any consequences for our action. Further, we lack patience, shrewdness and planning. We keep compromising with our goal. While they do not pardon anybody going astray from their goal, we not only pardon, but actually leak the feet of our friends going away from our goal of action against corruption. We are not ready to take any risk and stake nothing. Forget about life. We are not ready to give any time, energy, or money for what we call as our goal, namely action against corruption. If we study and propagate the concept of total stress management, that is holistic renaissance or superliving, the core of which is namasmaran, to merely 10 persons in a day only once, then in 10 days it would go across the whole mankind as a weapon for the action against corruption, as follows. 1 times 10 equals 10. 10 times 10 equals 100. 100 times 10 equals 1,000. 1,000 times 10 equals 10,000. 1,000 times 10 equals 100,000. 1,000,000 times 10 equals 1,000,000. 1,000,000 times 10 equals 10,000,000. 1,000,000 times 10 equals 100,000,000. 1,000,000 times 10 equals 1,000,000,000. 1,000,000,000 times 10 equals 10 billion. But this is what can happen if we wish. In any case, total stress management, that is holistic renaissance or superliving, the core of which is namesmaran, whatever be the semantics, is writing on wall. It is an incoming thing irrespective of our wish and will. It is our fortune and privilege if we understand and participate in it. This recording was created using spoken text, the free online text-to-speech converter. To learn more about spoken text, visit www.spokentext.net.